Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our Lunch and Learn session today. Today we're excited to have Peter Kaufman, the creator of the eAnalytics portal for Sage 300, on the call with us. Peter, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to learning more about the eAnalytics portal. And everyone's line will be muted during the call, but we will have time for Q&A at the end. And so with that said, I will hand it over to you, Peter.
All right. Hi, thank you very much. So today I basically want to run through our product eAnalytics portal, which is a reporting portal designed and particularly written around the Sage 300 database. The product it's driven off of a data warehouse, which is built on a Microsoft SQL analysis services. We use a browser as the front end or Excel as the front end. But it doesn't leave your network, so it sits where your Sage data is, and it runs on a daily update directly from your Sage data. Traditional accounting software, whether it's Sage, SAP, or whatever, it's stored in a bunch of flat tables. These flat tables are all linked together by keys, which is vendors, customers, invoices, and so forth. Never really designed for reporting purposes, but more designed to store business logic and so forth. So what we've done is we've created these data cubes, a picture more like a Rubik's Cube, where we extract the data from those flat tables and store them into these multi-dimensional cubes, and then we have a reporting portal that runs off of that. Okay, so this is the standard user interface, uses Internet Explorer, and the reason why it's Internet Explorer and not another browser is because we standardize on Microsoft Office web components for the reporting tool. Okay, so when I'm logging in as administrator, and I'll log in, and basically this is just the home page of the screen. Your company logo appears up in the right corner, and then we have some standard views, okay, and these are all predefined views, which I'll expand these trees and go through this in a little bit. But we also have public views, which are views or reports that you can create and make available to anybody that has access to the portal. And we have personal views, which are user reports that you create that are basically just for you, and that's all managed under settings, and I'll go through that pretty much at the end of the presentation. Now the system is unlimited user, so it's not a product where you have to go out and buy user licenses for every single user. Basically, the product has the standard views under predefined, and we have a set of dashboard views, and we have a set of sales analysis views that relate to customers, salespersons, products, territories, and so forth. Plus we have some inventory analysis views. And then under the financial views, we cover both the customers, which is the accounts receivable reports, the vendor reports, and the GL reports. Okay, so those are all predefined out of the box. It's multi-company, so you can link this data mart to multiple companies, and you can have consolidated reports across the different companies, or you can look at the companies completely separately within the reports. And just to dive in and kind of take a look at some of the standard reports within the system, we have like a standard dashboard view. Okay, and this standard dashboard view is just a typical sales view. I can come in and highlight multiple years that I want to see. So if I wanted to select 2 different years, I can do that. I can also right-click on a particular year and say filter by the selection. That would change the criteria. I could hit the plus here and extend that out. I could double-click on the chart and change the view. The neat thing is I can come in and right-click and bring up this field list. This field list has all the fields that are available to me in a particular view. And these are fields that you can use for any of the reporting. If you set up optional fields within your customers or products and so forth, those can be set up as dimensions. These all items are called dimensions within those reports. And if I wanted to add information to a particular view, I just simply drag the information in, and it updates both the grid and the chart. As well as I can do things like adding things like return amounts and so forth as well, if I wanted to update those views as well. So I have a lot of different options is what I can do. I'm looking at my information here based on a time calendar. I can also come in here and look at the information based on time intelligence. Okay, and time intelligence being all the time calculations that we have built into the data warehouse. So these aren't things that you have to set up and calculate. These are all pre-built. So I can come in and, I'm only selected a few that are in the standard view, but if I wanted to see month-over-month growth or maybe average or 12-month moving average and so forth, and it basically updates the view that I want to see. And I can do things like filter by my individual items if I want, by selecting those different items, and we could do it by item name or item description or item number, customer groups, customer name, and so forth. Another thing that we can do within this filter by this selection, so we can limit this, is I can come in and have different views of what I want to see. So if I wanted to look across all my different customer groups, and maybe I wanted to, focus on, just different individual customer groups, I can do that looking at for a particular year, and the individual information relating to that year I can filter by. I just want to create a big view here, but I'll get into that in a minute. But I can also come in and any of these views that I'm working with, I can work with it in Microsoft Excel. The neat thing about this is that once I send a view out to Excel, it's still linked to the data warehouse. And if I were to save this on my network with whatever formulas and things I want to put in there, it would basically update every single night. And I can come in here and add different information to my views. So I could have gross margin, cost of sales, quantity sold. I can set up different filters by, let me just jump down here, maybe something like salesperson. So then I can come over here and set up a filter by a particular salesperson, and then I could limit, what I want to see based on those salespeople and so forth. So I can go ahead and select an individual, and then basically I get my view for that. And again, I could hit save, and it would update that view based on that criteria. So jumping down to sales analysis, if I were to look at my general customer view, I'll just click on a generic top 10 view. I have my year-to-date using my time calculations, my customers that I want to see. Now, this is setting up as a filter showing my top 10. On any of the views, I could right-click and I could show all of them. I could show X%. I could change it to my top 25, and that would bring up those details as well. And then I can also come in and bring up my field list, and I can add gross margin, or I could add cost of sales, whatever the case is, quantity sold, and add more details to my particular view. But it's a data mining tool, because the problem with static reports is they often lead you to more questions, which means running more reports. Oftentimes those reports don't exist. So then you have to go and either create new reports or run additional reports. And so, for instance, if I had a question relating to a particular customer, and I wanted to filter by this particular customer, and maybe I wanted to see what products this particular customer is purchasing, I simply just drag those details in. I could drag my customer up here as a filter, and then I can have my individual products that they are purchasing year-to-date. I could change my time calendar to the calculations to see it by month and so forth. But the neat thing is then I can also come in on a given field and say sort descending, and it'll basically change my view, so this way I can see the most important products that they're purchasing and all that kind of good stuff as well. And given the use of optional fields, if you have subcategories for items or customers and things like that, those can be set up as dimensions that can be filters that you can do data mining on and so forth. So it gives me quite a bit of flexibility in terms of what I might want to look at or not look at within the data reporting. We have things like rank, so we can basically see, which are the most important clients within a particular period, and this is year-to-date, so this is ranking my customers based on this particular time. The top customers as far as returns, if returns are an issue, so we can basically see which ones are the most important returns. Again, I can do data mining on all this stuff as well. We have a set of gross margin reviews, item contribution views in terms of who's contributing the most in terms of my net sales and so forth based on the different time calculations. But we have a lot of things that we can do that's, jump down and limit this view, that we can do from a data mining and just overall reporting purpose. Let me click out of this. Okay, and let me get rid of this particular view, bring up my field list. So just to give an example of other things that we do that's kind of non-standard from a reporting standpoint, is we created a dimension off of the address. In the event that I wanted to do reporting based on kind of the geography, I could say, well, let's do a report based off of the address. So it pulls from the address criteria. So I can see now this is every customer that has USA in the country. And now basically we break it down by state. Okay, so now I can go ahead and then filter by this selection, and now I have, these are my sales in Florida. And then goes down to my sales by each individual state within here, so I can go ahead and scroll down and see which ones I might want to report on. So then if I go down to the different areas, I can go ahead and select, which ones are customers or areas that I want to report on. So I can go ahead and filter by that, extend out and see these are all my customers in Miami. Okay, and from there I can actually come in and drag in a different dimension if I want. If I want to know who the salespeople that are dealing with different customers, in this case it's somebody that's linked to this particular territory. But for instance, from a data mining standpoint, and let me just do a sort descending on this. If I wanted to see, with Mike Cigars is an important customer of ours, maybe I wanted to see, what items Mike's purchasing, and basically just come in and drag those details out. Maybe I also want to see, when he's buying them. And when I look at my time, I can see my time down to the quarter, down to the month, and down to the day if I want. Okay, in terms of breaking out and extending out the details of what I want to see. So it gives me quite a bit of flexibility in terms of the type of information I want to see, how I want to see it, and so forth. Now keep in mind that this crunches through massive amounts of data extremely quick. We report on Sage databases that are upwards of 50 gigabytes, and the database that I'm using as a sample underneath this is a 30 gigabyte Sage database. So this is how fast the system is crunching through this amount of data. So it's fairly robust in terms of the performance and the time to report on this stuff. I mean, the process that does take some time, which takes about 45 minutes or so, which is the schedule that we run every night, which updates the data mart itself. So we run that, typically everything that you see runs the day behind, okay? And then we have a whole set of views based on salesperson rank. These are still built off of the same data cubes that I was just looking at, just different dimensions are dragged in. Same thing with products, where we can do all kind of product analysis, tracking things like, product growth, and again, we can filter. I could drag in and filter any of my products up here as I want, just by going to the field list and dragging those details in. But then I can also track, things like my product contribution based on my different product categories, and I can drag in the actual products themselves, so I don't have to do that. But if I extend out on this and maybe sort this as a descending number, basically you can see within my main product line, this is contributing 4%, 3%, and so forth, to see which are my most important products. And my time calculation, I'm not going year to date, I'm just going the prior 12 months. So as time moves forward, I can always see, a 12-month rolling of that percentage. And that could be whether it's you're looking at a percentage, a dollar amount, and so forth in terms of what we select from our time intelligence calculator. And then we have views based on things like gross margin, which I can, again, if I filter by my trade, and then maybe extend this out. And basically, from here, I can come in and then, sort, show only the top 10. And so I can basically see that, one side of the equation is dealing with gross margin percentage, one side dealing with the gross revenue or net sales of the product. But if you see, if I stand over any product, you can see, which product corresponds to which on the bubble, or how they correspond by just, highlighting over the legends. And again, with the ad hoc reports, I can drill into those criteria. I mean, I can do more of the same with territories and so forth. And then I have my inventory analysis, where I can do things like looking at information based on my location details. Again, if I were to filter by my trade, basically, and let me just sort this descending, because not every product has items on hand. So I can see, what I have on hand. I'm looking across all my locations. One thing I failed to pass upon is that if I was looking at things by consolidated, if I had multiple companies, is that I would drag in a company dimension in any of the views, and basically I could then select or deselect which company in Sage that I wanted to look at within that view. So I could, select which ones, or I could deselect which ones, and so forth. I'm just, have data based on this information. So this way I can view that information based on that. But also from my field list, I have a whole set of additional views, a whole set of additional fields that I can select from, in terms of most recent cost and last unit cost and so forth, that I can drag in with respect to my items, and last receipt date and so forth, that I can drag into my views to update that, as well as things like reorder quantities and so forth. And then if I get into my financial analysis, I have things like my aging, which I can do agings by, this is by customer group, but I can actually do it by customer. I can sort on any of the given fields and so forth, and customer analysis, where I can look at things by the different transaction types and so forth, and drag in the dimensions of the customers and so forth. A lot of these views are raw because they're meant for you to just drag in the information you want to look at with respect to that, the basic statistics across my customer information, and then, general information in terms of how that information compares year over year. But you have a whole slew of information based on that, based on vendors, as well as you have the ability to do GL reporting based on here. So I can look at general account details, and if I want, I can look at the, I can come in and add things. So maybe I want to see the actual, instead of account code, I want to look at the account, as well as the account code. So this way, when I open up my details, I can then go into my individual accounts, and let me just close this. And I can go and then look at, the individual accounts and see those details as well. So we have, all different stuff cubes based on the general ledger as well. And then we can also build consolidated financials from the data mart. And just giving you an example, this is, two different companies. I can look at them as of a given year, and then I can select all the different departments. And then basically, the financials are something that, need to be built. This is the only thing that's not pre-built, because they're different for every individual company in terms of, the different trial balance, and then, different income statements across the different companies, and then summaries and so forth, that we can look at them by the different departments and so forth, that we break down. And nothing that I'm showing you here, these are just thrown together for demonstration purposes. Obviously, you can use different fonts and make them look really nice and so forth, but this is more from a presentation effect. Now, when I'm in the portal itself, like I said, we can create views and save views. So if I were to come to my settings, I can come and select a particular type of view, and then I can say, okay, I want to start with the raw data cube, which is from the data warehouse, that I want to report on. Or to make things easier, I can say I want to start with an existing report. So then I would come in and grab that report, and maybe I wanted to make a salesperson report. Maybe I wanted to have it to show 2 different years of detail. And maybe I wanted a report by salesperson, and maybe I wanted to drag in some details here, quantity sold, gross margin, and so forth. And then I just go ahead and hit save. When I hit save, I have the option to say I want to save it a public view for everyone or a personal view for me. And then I can go ahead and save that view, give it a name. I'm just going to put some letters in here. And then I go ahead and select OK. And that goes ahead and updates the details. So then if I were to come back to my personal views, and I would see this view, it's there under that. The other thing I can do is also organize my views. So under Settings, I can go to Folder Manager, and I can, under, let's say, Personal Views, I want to add a folder, and I'll just call this one. And then from here, I can go ahead and put my reports in that folder, okay? And so from there, basically, I can build my tree as to what I want to add, so I can organize this as marketing, this is sales, this is by product line, by salesperson, as you organize what you like under your standard views. Because a lot of the predefined views are really, a guideline of what's most commonly used, but every company is going to want to have different information. A lot of people set up optional fields and so forth. So, this way you can really build off of the existing stuff. So this way it's all managed under those particular locations.